Let freedom ring this afternoon at 2 with Sean Hannity, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
Dan and Amy, no matter which way President Trump goes on DACA, or President Trump and Congress, don't forget them, it's going to be litigated. I mean, right now there is litigation, looming lawsuit, I should say, by 10 Republican state attorneys general to rescind DACA, arguing it's unconstitutional. Now, the prospect of rescinding DACA, even 6 months from now, has Washington Attorney General threatening to file suit. Bob Ferguson saying he will sue the federal government if Trump ends the program. And New York Governor and Attorney General Cuomo and Schneiderman, Attorney General there, also saying that they will litigate the matter if it ends. So either way, it's going to be litigated and maybe ultimately adjudicated by the Supreme Court, but that'll be years down the road. For more on what is pressing before us now, we're pleased to be joined by Jessica Vaughan, who is the Director of Policy Studies at the Center for Immigration Studies. Jessica, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Glad to be with you.
So even among those who support rescinding DACA, there's a disagreement. Some find President Trump's apparent agreement to delay rescinding DACA for 6 months judicious and sensible, and others, including Congressman Steve King of Iowa, don't like it because they believe that it will give Congress the window of opportunity they need to come up with amnesty for DACA designees. Where do you come down on that?
Well, the president had no choice, in my view, because DACA is clearly improperly done, unconstitutional, should not have been done that way, and only Congress can create immigration categories for people, no matter how sympathetic. And it's puzzling to me that some members of Congress are not more upset about this power grab that Barack Obama made when he was president. So that's why I think that the DACA program really has to end. I mean, I think it was bad policy as well as being illegal. And if it was illegal for Barack Obama to do it, it's illegal for President Trump to do it. And that's the way the attorneys general of the 10 states that are suing over these executive amnesties see it as well. The president should end DACA, and Congress, if it chooses to, should come up with a plan for a legalization program for the for at least some of the beneficiaries of it. But that's Congress's prerogative. They may choose not to, or they may, just choose to fight over it. But I think they're going to do something, and Congress needs a deadline, and the president is going to give them one.
So, Jessica, if they end DACA, what should happen to the 800,000 dreamers who are here?
Well, nothing will happen to them right away, at least not most of them who are here, working, living their lives. They're not a priority for deportation unless they have disqualified themselves in some other way, such as by a criminal conviction, or if it's found that they got DACA by fraud. And I have to say, I would support an amnesty program for them as long as it comes with provisions to mitigate the fiscal costs of it and the future chain migration impacts of such a huge amnesty program. And I think that's a deal that Congress should seize on and get it done, and let's move forward and start dealing with other urgent immigration problems like sanctuary cities and the enforcement problems, border security, entry, exit, e-verify, and all of that. It is kind of interesting to me that so many people seem to think that the DACA program is the most urgent immigration issue we face when, there are, I think, many more urgent ones for public safety.
You think sanctuary city, sanctuary state is more serious?
I do, yes. I mean, the ICE director, Tom Homan, said recently that there have been 10,000 criminal aliens released by sanctuary cities who have gone on to commit new crimes after they were released. Now, that's a public safety urgent problem.
So
nothing's going to happen to the Dreamers. They're not going to be deported, as I said, unless they do something else. They'll be fine, but it's not okay for people to continue to be victimized by people who should be deported.
So how did you react to the signing last week by our governor here, Republican Governor Bruce Rauner, of what they call the Trust Act, which others call the Sanctuary State Act? They were arguing that this doesn't prevent local and state law enforcement from cooperating with federal immigration authorities, but it's a difficult argument to make out. If it doesn't do anything, then why did you pass and sign the legislation? So anyway, your reaction to it?
You're exactly right. This is a state sanctuary bill, and one that means that local law enforcement agencies cannot cooperate with federal immigration authorities who are doing their legitimate and important mission of enforcing our immigration laws, which protect the integrity of our legal immigration system, and also have a public safety benefit to boot because they're focused on removing criminal aliens, that small fraction of the immigrant population that is committing crimes. And it's a mystery to me how Republican governors like Governor Rauner, and there's Governor Baker in Massachusetts and a few others around the country, think that this is at all to their benefit politically, either that they are somehow going to be able to, out-pander Democrats on immigration issues by going soft on enforcement. It just doesn't make any sense politically because both independents and Democrats and Republicans agree that our immigration laws should be enforced, particularly against criminal aliens. And you have law enforcement agencies lining up against sanctuary policies. This is a no-brainer that he, I think really made a mistake on.
Well, it's interesting too, Amy. We talked about this, that as much as they're defending and attacking conservatives who are opposed to the sanctuary state bill, they've got a little problem, and the little problem is that 64 of 69 Republican state legislators voted against the bill. So, so what do those Republican legislators know or not know that the governor doesn't know or does know?
Maybe they met with the people who have lost family members or been victimized by the criminal aliens that get released by the sanctuary policies. Governor Rauner couldn't be bothered to meet with those people or even speak with them about their concerns.
Right, but originally saying that he would meet with them, and then he didn't even do that.
Yeah. So he, really, it's pretty shocking, actually, that he could not bring himself to do that.
So with respect to kind of these parallel tracks of immigration policy and the rule of law where it is applied, how do we make sense of something? How do we make sense of this where we can have kind of a unified theory of immigration in this country? You've got the sanctuary city, sanctuary state. You've got DACA. You've got DAPA. You've got H-1B visa programs and arguing about caps. You've got Tom Cotton's RAISE Act that seeks to reduce legal immigration by 50% over the next 10 years. How do we get a unified theory of what immigration laws should be in this country such that everybody is held to the same standard no matter their country of origin? It is transparent, it's predictable, and if you're identified as somebody that would add value to this country, is coming here to make a better life for yourself and your family, and that's obvious, expedite that process as well.
That's exactly right. We do need immigration reform, and we need to have some unifying principles. First of all, our immigration policy needs to work for the United States of America and its people. That's who it should serve, our national interest. It needs to protect our national security. It needs to admit the people that Congress decides should get in the numbers that Congress decides that we can absorb, and people who violate our laws, who shouldn't be here, who overstay their visas, they should be sent home in a very transparent and humane process. I think everyone would agree with that. That's not what we have going on right now. The numbers don't work for us. The skill sets are not there in our immigration flow. It's primarily dominated by family immigration. It all needs to be adjusted so that it, again, works for our country and that we have we already have the most generous legal immigration system in the world. But it does need to be tweaked because it is disadvantaging many Americans and even recent legal immigrants in terms of the labor market. All of that can be adjusted. There's a plan out there to do it that was introduced by Senator Tom Cotton called the RAISE Act that you referred to, which would reorient our legal immigration system and create a point system so that the most qualified applicants get in regardless of where they come from or whether they know anybody who's already here. That's an immigration system that we need to move toward. And this is an opportunity to do it. If Congress only passes immigration laws once in a while, and if, President Trump pushing them to do something for the Dreamers in exchange for these other reforms that would make our immigration system better, that's a good deal that Americans should be able to unite around and that Congress should be able to unite around.
She is Jessica Vaughan, Director of Policy Studies at the Center for Immigration Studies. Jessica, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Hear